people find themselves in relationships, they feel a love, and in reality, it's an unhealthy obsession. And even when these people are faced with the facts, they still refuse to admit that they're more obsessed than in love. So we're gonna talk about some of the signs that that can show you whether you're obsessed rather than love. Okay.
And talking about what you just talking about, we talk and counsel people. And like I just said previous, sometimes when someone shows you abundance of love and they're overwhelming because you also lack something, and you look at this as, oh, this is great. No one is cared or then this concerned about me. They're texting me, they're calling me all the time. They're just concerned about me. But it moves to obsession.
Yeah.
And then I hear sometimes he's just a little jealous, or he's just a little jealous, but it turns to obsession. It goes too far, but at the beginning, you're not checking the person because you think they're just being protected. They really care about me. They don't want to lose me. You make excuses for behavior. It's not that you notice, you start making excuses for behavior. And that's a sign for you. If you start making excuses for your partner's behavior.
And just to give you some examples of that, like you just said, when that person, they want to be with you and spend all of your waking hours together to the point that they don't even want you to spend time with your family, and or they want to alienate you from your friends. You have to be careful with that because sometimes you think that's healthy and you don't really pay attention. Oh, you think, oh, they really like me, they're really into me. And here's somebody that is, just into what I like and want to be with me all the time. And then as the relationship goes on, you start realizing, hey, this something about this ain't right.
And friends and family try to tell you when you get to a relationship in that stage where you're together a lot, then you should be meshing your family dynamics together, not being overwhelmed, but you do become a part of each other's family. So if one of the partners are trying to keep you away from your family, always have an excuse why you can't be with your family, or they just want to stay here with you, and it becomes a constant thing, before it goes too far, it's something to talk about. You can tell, I enjoy being with you, and I enjoy when you're around my family. I enjoy showing you off and all that. And you can see, you pump them up, and you can see if they're just trying to separate and control you.
And one of the ways you can tell whether you're in love or obsessed is if you take on some responsibilities on the chance that you think you might run into the person who's the object of your obsession. Stuff like missing work, or not even going to school, or maybe you had some other appointments, just because they said, I might call you tomorrow. You standing home all day the next day because you thinking they're gonna call you, or if you stay in a location long enough, you think they'll come in. When you start doing that,
yeah, many stories that we heard in private where people say, I was waiting for him to come to dinner. He promised he was coming over. He said, we're going to go out next week, so I don't make a plan, but he's missed the last 2 weeks. And he said, I'm going to make it up to you, but you decide that they promised me this, or they said this to me. You know that you're about ready to go over. That becomes unhealthy.
yeah.
Because once again, you are making excuses for some way that someone is treating you.
And you know what? You only gonna be sorry later on in life that you didn't go on with your life and not try to prioritize someone who's prioritizing you.
We miss out on things that you love doing just so that you can be available in case they decide that they have time to call you or to want to see you. What you're really actually doing is putting your life on hold for another person. It makes no sense for you to rearrange your life for them. You're only missing out on a lot of by doing this. And when you become together, you don't rearrange your life, you integrate your relationship.
Yeah.
Very important. Integrate your relationship.
And here are some of the things that people do too when they're upset. Y'all been friends and buddies forever, and all of a sudden your friend ain't got time for y'all no more because they they got them a new boo, and that boo is taking up all their time, or they staying at home to make sure they don't miss a call from their boo, or they too busy trying to track down their boo. They trying to see where all they going and what they doing and that sort of thing. So you find that your friendships are taking a back to obsession. Now, when you obsess with a person, you tend to ignore your friends, and even when this other person hadn't even called you or made plans with you. And you know what happens? You start losing those valuable friendships. And like we said before, part of integrating your life together is send your new boo to your friends so y'all can all get to know each other. Not necessarily saying that they got to be friends with the person, but they at least have to know who's in your life and try to get to understand you better, and everybody's relationship with one another. But when you start ignoring your friends, people are only going to deal with that for so long, and it happens. Anybody recognize themselves in any of this before we move on to our next topic of discussion? And if you're on our site or listening, just drop us in some comments and let us see. I can tell you, I recognize myself in some of that stuff. When I was young, I sit around waiting around for somebody to call, and after a few incidents,
not anymore.
A few incidents of that, I was like, oh no, let me wake up. And sometimes I tell y'all, I had to pray to move on to get some things changed, but that had to do with me. And I'm so glad because prayer brought me out. It helped me move on.
We all can get caught up. Everyone out there listening is being caught up, has done one of these 7.
Yeah.
That's when you got 2 or 3 or 4 of them. And I think the biggest way you can know is when your friends, I'm not talking about the haters, I'm talking about your friends around you start to say, I haven't seen you as much. Where you been?
Yeah.
I know you got a boo, so I got a boo now. I know you got your boo, but we still can have some time together.
Yeah.
Integrating. When they say they want to be with you, you don't have to have your man there with you. Sometimes you should be doing some stuff with your friends by themselves. So just watch out for these signs and others so that you can have a healthy relationship.
Sometimes you want to introduce your friends to your boo so they can see some things and know. Sometimes when your friends meet, they're like, oh, I like him, he's cool. Or
you're going to get a lot of at the beginning. They don't know.
You might, but sometimes it's after they get know this person in life, they're able to see some things. And if you got some praying friends, they're going to pray you for the Lord to open your eyes. And they may not say anything to you, but I'm talking to you about what praying friends do. And that's valuable as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, y'all, I saw myself in some of these things, and I can admit that. I'm just glad that I was helped. And you know what? I thought about that song that said everybody plays the fool sometimes. Yeah. Ain't no exceptions to the rule.